I deal with bullion dealers all the time. I speak with a lot of bullion dealers on a pretty regular basis. I also interact with the public an awful lot when it comes to buying silver, buying gold. What is the right kind of silver to stack? What is the right kind of gold to stack? And the difference between expectations, opinion, and indeed end results of what ends up being the right thing to buy or sell could not be more stark between a dealer and a consumer. And that gap, I feel, is ever growing, because I think of the state that our industry is in because of the socialization, the Twitterization, the whatnoterization of the bullion world. And it's moving, in my opinion, to a sort of lowest common denominator, which often ends up being something that's fractional, something that is desirable from a selling perspective, not necessarily because it's the right thing for you, the consumer, to buy, but because sellers, dealers, big and small, can make a lot of money off you. And that has never been so evident in the last year. And this is now starting to get to a really interesting time of year when a lot of big bullion companies are starting to publish annual accounts. And here in the UK, those accounts are public on Companies House. And the amount of additional turnover and sales that bullion companies have made in this last year is phenomenal. We're talking 3x, 4x, 5x and more, depending on the business, of what they used to turn over. And of course, with that comes additional profit. Now, I've been stacking and buying gold and silver for 10 years. I like to think I know what I am talking about, but the industry evolves. The whole world evolves as well. And there was a time when buying a kilo coin of silver, like this incredible Queen's Beasts coin, was the smart way to stack silver. You could buy this stuff and have it as a lower premium. But even I will agree right now, a kilo of silver is a cumbersome, expensive, quite inflexible and illiquid piece to own. So there is definitely still a place for fractional silver and gold in the world. But how and where to buy it at the best price is really interesting. And one thing that I get a lot of comments on, because I show this little batch of sovereigns all the time. This is my sort of emergency stash of sovereigns that I don't have in secure storage. It's the stuff that is there if and ever I need on short notice to have some gold. And people always ask me, why do you go for sovereigns over pure gold, quarter ounce gold Britannias? Now, the answer to that question is premium. Premium is the king when it comes to investing in gold and silver, whether it be a sort of difference between a 1 ounce silver Britannia and we get 4 of them, 4 silver quarter ounce Britannias. The premium difference is stark, and the same is true on sovereigns versus gold Britannias. And ultimately, premium is irrespective on gold based on the purity, because a sovereign, whilst 22 karat gold and is, yes, okay, not pure, it is still gold. It still has a gold content to it. In addition, the sovereign is one of the most sought after and popular collector investor coins here in the UK and indeed around the world. You've only got to look at the popularity of the sovereign over the last 200 years to see why it is the quintessential investment coin. And so a single sovereign with a net troy ounce weightage of 0.2354 ounces, very similar in weight to a quarter ounce gold Britannia. You can buy these from bullion dealers secondhand for about 3% over spot price, perhaps a little bit more depending on the dealer and when you factor in postage and the like. But I've been buying sovereigns on secondary markets for 1% over spot, even less than spot in recent times because of the premium markets. However, a quarter ounce Britannia brand new from a dealer, you're looking at 10, 11, 12, 13. In fact, when I remember buying quarter ounce Queen's Beasts coins back when I was collecting that series, and every time I bought one, it was like 15, 16% premium at the time from dealers. And I was always like, why is it so much more? I mean, I have to buy it because I'm a slave to the series and I really want it. But ultimately, it just didn't necessarily make sense to me. So that's why I switched my approach to sovereigns. Now, for gold, there is a swing there in that premium. So if I now take these two coins back to a bullion dealer, I'm going to get pretty much the same price for both. And the reason for that is the sovereign will be so easy for the bullion dealer to sell. They'll just take it. As long as it's not in the crappy, horrible, sub-grade condition, underweight, etc., they'll just put it up on their website and it will sell quickly. These now are a little bit more discerning for people, but people still buy them. The premium is still there. But at the same time, for me, the swing, it's like an 8, 9, 10% swing if I just take these back to a bullion dealer. So sovereigns make more sense for me. Now that swing is even more exemplified when it comes to silver. And I'm not just talking about the fractionality of silver. So an ounce of Britannia right now sitting, I don't know, about 55 pounds on the secondary market, spot of 49 pounds. Quarter ounce Britannia is, 30 pound a coin. I've talked about that before. Stupid. But sterling silver right now, having a pretty hard time of it. And at the moment, now some of these crowns, I will grant you, they are nicer, older crowns. They've got an old Victoria crown here. So you wouldn't be pricing this at what I'm about to tell you, which is what I see most of the time, below spot price. 90% of intrinsic value is often a pretty good price for generic sterling silver. Now, older crowns like this, they deserve more than 90% of spot price. But at the end of the day, that's what you're going to get from most places. And the simple fact of the matter is that dealers don't want these coins in because they can't shift them properly. People are not a fan of them, and they can't make the margin that they make on fractional silver or other gold products. And so when I see consumers absolutely loving fractional silver and saying that it is the only way that they can afford to stack, first up, I ask my question to them, well, if you can't afford to save up to buy a single ounce once a week, you shouldn't probably be stacking silver in the first place, and you certainly shouldn't be buying, or I should say, if you can't save enough money to buy a single ounce in a month, then why are you buying 4 of these once a week? You can't afford that. You can't afford 50 quid, 60 quid in a month. Don't spend 120 quid to try and buy that 60 quid. What a stupid thing to do. Doesn't make sense. So from a perspective of what the dealers want and see every day, and what I hear and I see from dealer buyback prices, they don't want this stuff because it's crap to them. They can't sell it. They often actually end up just sending it off for refinement. With gold, however, that's not necessarily the case with other types of gold. Now, there will be some specialist gold coins that are just a bit weird and wonderful that some bullion dealers, big mainstream ones that deal with hundreds of millions of pounds worth of turnover every year, they want something in, they want something out, because stock is king right now. If you don't have the stock, if you don't have the liquidity of stock, then you're going to be ending up holding stock for a while. You have to then spend money to hedge against silver and gold price fluctuations, and that impacts your overall business cash flow. Not a good thing. And people don't necessarily get that. So gone are the days, I think, where buying old gold like this lovely Peruvian gold coin, which is a 90% gold coin, I personally would avoid these coins quite a lot right now. There's a few other reasons, like capital gains tax, for example. But in terms of their gold content right now, you'd be getting, 95% of spot price for this. If you were unlucky, you can still get good prices for gold that isn't pure gold right now. But sovereigns are the way forward. 100% I'd say sovereigns. But there is this snobbery about pure silver only, because if we flip the switch the other way, and if we act now as individuals that are essentially bullion dealers under our own steam, then we've got to think about what the bullion dealers are doing and what we should be doing. If the bullion dealers are paying 90% of spot price for this, then we should be paying 85% of spot price, or maybe comparing and matching the dealer. We should be paying around that if we want to buy it. So when I see people selling this kind of stuff on different live selling apps and platforms, I just think to myself, and I see them go for significant amounts, because maybe not crowns, but I see 50% silver half crowns selling, and they end up selling way over spot price. And then the sellers are pleading poverty because they're going, "Oh, chat, it's too cheap, you're robbing me blind." It's a load of bollocks. I love saying that. I love saying that when we're 10 minutes into a video as well, because YouTube can't demonetize me. But it's a load of tosh. These dealers are there to make money. They are there making money. They will make significantly less money selling a Britannia coin than they will buying in a batch of fractional silvers and then selling those fractional silvers on. And unfortunately, the market is such that right now, people have got under a spell of, I don't know what it is. Is it attention deficit disorder? Is it like a growing way the world is because we need to have it now or it's never going to happen? Is there something wrong in the water? People make really bad decisions that in my opinion, really bad decisions. And I'm like, when did this happen? When did we get to this point? And this isn't even the worst of it, because we talk about fractional silver in terms of tenths and quarter ounces. And look, I've been buying tenths and quarter ounces, the ones you see on the table here, I buy from the secondhand market, and I buy it way cheaper than anybody's going to buy it. I could flip these, I could sell these, I could set up a backyard bullion whatnot page, and I could sell them on that. I've seen them run up to £20, £20 for a 10th ounce Britannia. What a load of crap. It's just not right. It's just not right. But unfortunately, people have been sold a lie, been sold a dream, been sold an idea that they have to get into silver. And I'll go back to my earlier point. If you can't save enough money in a month to save 50 quid, 60 quid to buy a single 1 ounce silver coin, you shouldn't be stacking. It's a horrible thing for me to say to you, but you shouldn't be stacking. You should be concentrating on saving money, paying down debt, saving money in the rest of your life. Have a think about all of these subscriptions that we're all on right now. I mean, God, the other day I looked at what subscriptions we're on. We've got, I mean, it's a bit lazy because we've just not done it, but we've got Netflix, we've got Amazon, we've got Disney, we've got HBO Max, we've got Now TV. There's all of these things that add up, and it didn't used to be like this. It used to be all the way back a lot simpler. But that is what it is. And like the hilarious thing is that you don't actually own any of the stuff that you're ever watching. You're just renting it and paying this money every month. So, it sucks, and it's a subscription lifestyle that I think people have got used to. And perhaps it's this idea now where you have this subscription lifestyle to silver, where you feel like you have to subscribe to it every month, or you're not achieving something. But ultimately, the note here that I want to say is that you're not achieving something by overpaying for things that you're telling yourself are an investment. Now look, it's not a backyard bullion video unless I'm dropping some of my silver or gold coins. Look, if you want to collect things, that's absolutely fine. And I sell collectible items, and I'm not going to make any bones about the fact that, the stuff that I sell has a premium to it. And this is not about bashing premiums. It's about bashing the idea that the items that you're buying are investments and that you're going to make money on them. That's the problem. People quite happily can buy a 10th ounce Britannia for £10 on a whatnot stream or an eBay Live or whatever it is. And then if they go and do the exact same thing, selling it on themselves on eBay, great. But if they buy 200 of these and they need the money quickly, they are going to find very, very fast that they have been shafted, and not in a good way. And the same can be said for 1 gram bars in assay cards and from various different mints around the world. Now, I will say, if you're going to be buying fractional gold, for example, then just got them out here on the side. You've got other options for fractional stuff. Gold. Now look, I don't necessarily think that buying, gold bars at 130, 140 pounds a gram is an easy investment. Like if you send these back to a bullion dealer, you'll get £100 for them. Do you know what? It's the second time in 2 days that I've been filming a video and the front door's gone. Please excuse me. Right, yeah, where was I? So if you are buying fractional stuff at a premium, don't buy, a 10th ounce Britannia at double, triple spot price. Buy fractional gold, 120 quid. If you are on a budget that you want to buy some silver and you're going to be buying it with the VAT, with the postage, if you're going to be buying 4 quarter ounce silvers, look at this, over time, or if you want to compare it to a gram of gold, here you go. We do this. So you can either have, in 2 months, if that's your budget, you can either have spent £120, I'm just working out my maths here, £120 on 1 ounce Britannias. You can buy a 1 gram cheapo gold bar at the moment for about £120, or you could spend £240 on 8 fractional bits of silver. You ask yourself, what's the better deal there? And certainly what's the better deal when you take whatever it is you bought back to a bullion dealer and find out what the prices are going to be. Ultimately, actually, a 1 ounce silver Britannia is probably your best bet in that scenario. But the single best bet is to just save up and buy a sovereign. One single coin, way, way better. Tell you an interesting story. So all of these gold coins were out on the table. And interesting, I haven't got it out here. There is a half sovereign in this tube. In fact, there are 2 half sovereigns. One of them's here. I just spotted it. And the other day, when I was filming, I had that handful of gold coins in my hand, and the doorbell rang. The woes of being a YouTuber. And so what I did was I picked up the gold. Well, I had the gold in my hand. I put it in my pocket to go answer the door. And I came back out, took the gold out of my pocket, put it back on camera, and filmed to try and make it a seamless transition. What I didn't realize was that I'd left a half sovereign in my pocket. And then I went to the post office and I had my phone in my pocket and I took my phone out my pocket and I heard this noise on the post office floor. And then I looked down and I saw a half sovereign and I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm glad I heard that go clink, because that's like £375, £400 worth of gold right there. And, you know, you put that in perspective, that tiny little thing, whilst really, really good in terms of space efficiency for investment purposes, if you put it in your pockets, it's not great. It's not great at all. So keep it safe, but also understand that the best value sometimes doesn't necessarily come in the form of essentially fractional stuff, with the exception of gold. Gold sovereigns are really, I mean, I'm not really at liberty to give you financial advice, but what I will say is that gold sovereigns are better than I think most other options. That said, if you see on social media from a reputable source, silver fractionals going at the same price as an ounce would be. So, you know, right now, if I put up for sale, or if somebody put up for sale 4 quarter-ounce Britannias for the equivalent of £60 and a 1 ounce silver Britannia for the equivalent of £60, buy the fractionals all day long. I would 100% agree with you on that. But if you're paying 120 quid, no, don't, just don't. And guys, if you're wondering where you might want to buy from the second-hand market in the best possible way, Silver Forum and Stacker Social are your 2 go-to places from a marketplace point of view. And in fact, what just came in right now from the old post office, or from the postman, I should say. In fact, let's tell you what, let's open it on camera and save me having to set up everything afterwards, is part of the Buyers Club. So this is an example. And unfortunately for all of you people watching, these coins will all have sold by the time this video goes public. So I'm trying to do a bit of a batch film this week. You see, we've got a bit of a busy week coming up. But these have just come in through the Buyers Club, where I link up buyers and sellers. And what we're going to be doing is selling these. I think they'll be priced around £57 a bar. Here we go. They are Perth Mint Dragon Bars. Beautiful, beautiful Dragon Bars. And there we have them. So there should be 10. That's what the seller sent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. There are 10 Dragon Bars here. So, for example, I will now go off and test these over on my Sigmas. Quick shout out to Trusty Metrics for all you cool kids. I will then put them up for sale on both the Silver Forum and Stacker Social. I tend to put things up on the Silver Forum first. It's just how I've always worked. So sign up to both and you'll find our deals. And then the general rule of thumb is if something hasn't sold within a couple of hours, I then put things up on my website through the Buyers Club, so you can sign up to our newsletter as well, which I'll try and remember to put all the links to everything down below. There are a lot of links down below, but if you want to go and check any of those out, then you can. All right, that's it from me. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you sticking around to the end. If you're cool, then you're in the Cool Kids Club, and I really appreciate your long-term support and viewership. Let me know if you're cool. What should we say to let me know that you are cool? I think, ooh, what should we say? I don't want you to say like the B word that I used earlier, which is a fun one because you'll just get instantly hidden. I think we'll say 30-ounce silver sphere, yummy. That's your Cool Kids Club phrase. See you on the next video. As always, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.